Welcome, Kumas, to another WoW guide. You're here with Kuma. Don't mind the sound of my voice. I'm just a little bit under the weather, so I'm wearing very warm clothes. But I just wanted to share with you some tips as to how you can farm Expulsom, which I have been doing ever since I started level 120 and farming dungeons so I can make a few items. This is the method I use. It's incredible, and believe it or not, I'm doing it right now as I'm sort of making this video. That's how brokenly OP it is right now. So the way to farm Expulsom is through the Scrapper. The Scrapper more or less breaks items down into its raw materials, as well as giving you the chance to drop Expulsom. Expulsom is more or less the new Blood of Sargeras, except it's a little bit easier to farm because, you know, you can use BOE items, put them in an item, breaks them down, and, you know, gives you Expulsom. Now, while you can't directly sell Expulsom, same as Blood of Sargeras, you can use it to craft different items, which you can then sell. So it is very valuable, and thankfully, using this method, you can more or less send Expulsom to your ults, because you can send these particular items to your ults, which you can then put in the Scrapper, and then break them down and get Expulsom. So, unlike Blood of Sargeras, you can actually send this over to your ults, which is good for people like me, because all of my ults have the crafting professions, and my hunter at the moment has dual crafting and skinning. Now, fortunately for us, using professions in BFA, we don't have to do the Battle for Lordaeron, Battle for Undercity scenario, or the Zandalar / Kul Tiras introduction, because we can skip those once we've done it on our main. So thankfully, it only takes about 5 minutes for us to get our ult to Zandalar or Kul Tiras, and then we can start crafting. So basically, skip those intro quests, grab the 1-2 quests in Kul Tiras, Zandalar, set up your base of operations, get your Hearthstone, and then head over to the Profession Trainers and the Scrapper. Now, what you're going to want to craft is the Shimmer Scale Arm Guards, which are made by the Leatherworker. They only cost 6 Shimmer Scales, as well as 4 Bloodstained Bones, which are both obtained from skinning. Now, if you have neither leatherworking or skinning, that is completely fine, because the new professions will let you start skinning and crafting the new items automatically without having to sort of go back and farm up your level like we had to back in the day. So don't worry, if you have an ult or something that's level 110, you can give them leatherworking, you can give them skinning, you can use this method to farm the skinning, but I highly recommend you do it at 120 because you'll be hitting 2 birds with 1 stone by doing world quests as well as dungeon queues. Now, on your Leatherworker, you're going to craft Shimmer Scale Arm Guards and then send them to the toon that you need Expulsom on, or you're just going to put them in the Scrapper straight away in exchange for Expulsom if you need them on that particular toon, because as we know, Leatherworking is going to use Expulsom quite a bit, particularly on the blue PvP gear. Especially on the epics, the BOP epics, as well as some BOEs which are coming out later, so you're going to need a fair bit of Expulsom. On average, you're going to get Expulsom around 1 every 4, 1 every 6. You will sometimes get lucky and get 1 Expulsom every 2 or 3 arm guards, and then you're going to go through periods of time where you're not going to get it for like 9. So, law of averages, if you're making hundreds and thousands, it will average out eventually. You can use an add-on called Easy Scrap that will automatically queue these items for you and make the whole process a lot easier. I personally wouldn't use this add-on unless you're scrapping huge volumes of the same item and you have absolutely no BOEs or BOPs which you want to disenchant or sell later, because the last thing you want is to accidentally put this in the Scrapper and it's gone. Now, something that I will want to point out to you guys is that rings and trinkets are amongst the best things to put in the Scrapper. Reason being, rings get broken down into the raw materials they're made from, which is obviously ore and gems, and ore and gems are both very expensive at the moment because the only way to get them is by physically going out into the world and farming the nodes. Now, since we don't have flying, the supply is fairly regulated, so until flying comes out or some Chinese botters absolutely flood the market, they are amongst the best materials to get from the Scrapper. So if you get any rings, put them in the Scrapper. If you get any quest rewards and you have to pick between a ring or, you know, a piece of gear, chances are you're going to pick the ring, because if you're a tailor or a leather wearer or a mail wearer, all you're going to get from the Scrapper is either cloth or leather, and those are worth a lot less than ore and gems. Now, something that's even more valuable than rings is trinkets. Trinkets have a 100% chance to drop Expulsom. I've tested this multiple times, and they are a 100% chance drop for Expulsom. Unfortunately, there's no cheap rings that the jewel crafter can make, because the rings actually require Expulsom, but trinkets and rings can both be rewarded by quest givers. So if you ever have to pick, always pick the trinket, because the trinket will always give you Expulsom. Now, this wouldn't be a farming video unless there was some farming element to it, so I'm going to show you guys what I've been doing the entire time I've actually been recording myself and explaining this sort of thing. I've been farming lots and lots of leather. As you can see, there's so much of it, and I'm doing absolutely no work. I'm just running from mob to mob and farming it. These mobs are plentiful because there's a world quest here. So, if you go to Teldrassil in Zandalar, and you go to the Nesting Wearing Trek, there is a daily quest called Extermination, where you have to destroy 20 feathered vipers' eggs. When you destroy these eggs, these little vipers come out. They don't have that much health, they don't hit that hard, but there's so many of them that you gotta be careful. And when they die, you can skin them. So, put 2 and 2 together, you go to a zone where a lot of people are doing the daily, you're gonna be skinning for a long time. Or, if there's no one doing it, there's these little eggs. All you have to do is break these eggs. You do it for the world quest, you know, with your pet. Send your pet in, it'll break the egg. There you go. And you get these little guys that spawn. You just have to hit them once. If you hit them once, you'll be able to loot them, you'll be able to skin them, and you'll be on your way. We've broken, I think, 2 or 3 eggs, and look, we've got like 10 guys. There's so many of these skins here, I can't keep on top of it, to be honest. So, there's an abundance. Even if there's other skinners running around, there's a pure abundance. And this is going to get you the materials that you're going to need for that Shimmer Scale Arm Guard, which is the Mist Scale, as well as the Bloodstained Bone. You're not going to make the male version of it. The male version uses the leather instead of the Bloodstained Bone. I don't recommend doing that because, as you can see from my bags, I don't have that much leather. Leather is a lot more rare than both the Bloodstained Bones and the Mist Scale. So, if you're smart, you're not going to be using the rarer of your items or materials in order to craft something that you want to break down in the scrapper, because then you're just sort of wasting good leather. I highly recommend you keep your leather, because I have a feeling that later on, when they release more items, more BOEs, more crafting things, the leather's going to be used. Leather is one of those things that's universally used, and I would actually store up on it for now, especially while it's cheap, or use it for crafting something else. Bloodstained Bone isn't used for many things, so I would actually use that over the leather, especially for the scrapper. Now, the one thing that you might get pissed off here is when someone does the same thing you do, and they don't skin. So this guy's obviously a leather worker, skinner slash leather worker. He's hit my little mobs, and he refuses to loot them. So I'm going to ask him very nicely to loot. And has decided to loot. And now I can go back to skinning. I get a little distracted that I'm doing this, and on top of this I'm sick, but I just wanted to point this little trick out to you guys. It's pretty freaking insane. Like, I can't even right now. And it's also one of the reasons I highly recommend picking up skinning, because during the questing experience, you're going to be killing a lot of beasts. During world quests, you're going to encounter a lot of beasts. During dungeons, there are going to be beasts which you can skin, and if you simply don't have skinning, you're going to miss out. I dropped enchanting for skinning for this very reason. A lot of people called me crazy because mining was doing so well, but I didn't want to do, circuits around the island to farm. Farming's, sort of boring, and this in a way is farming, but I'm doing a world quest at the same time, so I'm sort of using that excuse. But skinning is amazing, so if you don't have skinning, I highly recommend it. I'll be keeping it on my main for a while, and I will most probably give my alts skinning and mining when I'm doing the leveling experience, because we're going to want to get them all up to 120, because as soon as the mission tables with gold come out later on into the expansion, they're going to be giving about 1,000 or 2,000 gold base mission reward, as well as about 5,000 gold for your 200% bonus. So for now, I have my skinning, I have my jewel crafting, I'm sending all my leather to my alt, that's creating the arm guards, I'm breaking them down in the scrapper for Expulsom, and then I'm going to use Expulsom for various items. On jewel crafting, I'm going to use Expulsom on this lens. I am not even going to try to pronounce it, but you give it to your champions and it has a chance to bring back gems from successful missions, which is going to be very handy, especially if we get an epic gem. I don't know if that's going to happen, but the rare gems are also very good because they'll give us critical strike, they'll give us mastery, they'll give us haste, they'll give us versatility. And one thing I did notice on the auction house is that some people are selling these gems for a few gold. So if you notice these gems on the auction house for a few gold, I would highly recommend you buy them because the vendor is 350, you know, 350. So if you buy them for like 4 or 5 gold and you don't end up using them, you're not losing a lot. And these ones, the green ones, I've been buying on the auction house for under 2 gold and 50 silver, so I've been getting them for under vendor value. So things are a bit crazy at the moment, as you can imagine, but sort of these are the tips I can give you now. So go and farm your Expulsom and use it for whatever you want to use it for. Blacksmiths are using it, engineers are using it, every profession is using it in one way or another, and this is the best way to farm it. Look how many skins I'm surrounded by. I can't even skin this. The server's lagging by the number of people in this area killing these things. I'm guessing a lot of people are doing this at the same time. It's a crazy world quest. It's just insane. I hope that the server stability improves soon. The auction house servers are laggy, and now it looks like the world servers and the looting servers and the bag servers are lagging. And from what Blizzard said, the auction house and the bags and the banks are sort of ingrained into the game engine itself, which makes it difficult to fix. But whatever they're doing, they seem to have done it the wrong way because now looting's lagging. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Go nuts and start skinning. It's amazing. Turn war mode off, because if you're here and there's the opposing faction, you will be engaged in PvP, so you won't actually have the time to go out and, you know, skin. So I'm going to be sitting here while I'm waiting for my dungeon queue, just skinning these things. I'm probably going to put on Netflix and watch something. I'm still waiting for episode 11 of season 5 of Vikings, so I'm obviously going to start watching something else. Maybe some anime, maybe some YouTube videos, maybe something. Wait for a dungeon queue while skinning these things. It's just... like, you could sell these greens if you want. I've actually gone off and sold some of these greens for, you know, you could sell them for about 150 gold a piece, but I've gone off and sold them for about 120, 130 just to make it quicker. So if you're sitting here farming and making these, you're making hundreds of gold. I didn't calculate how many hundreds of gold an hour you're making just doing this, but you're making a few hundred gold every few skins, which is pretty bloody insane. The start of an expansion is always great. The start of an expansion is always great. So go out there, go make some gold, go have some fun. Don't spend too much time farming. Do it while you're waiting for a dungeon queue. See, I forgot to do the dungeon queue. And best of luck. Make sure you subscribe because I will be putting out more gold guides and profession guides. So make sure you're subscribed. Enable some notifications. Come to the live streams on Monday and Tuesdays. Until then, Ninja Kuma out. Bye.